Coming up.
Rosie O'Donnell's show is a disaster.
How is life in exile, you troublemaker?
You know that he's a fake, a phony, and a fraud.
The funny woman and the president.
I'd look her right in that fat, ugly face of hers. I'd say, Rosie, you're fired.
Inside Rosie O'Donnell and Donald Trump's feud.
No red hats. Triggers me, it triggers me.
It's no laughing matter.
That always comes first with him. What about a threat to humanity? That's a good one.
That's next on 60 Minutes.
Smart, fearless, and super quick with the one-liners. They're assets that have made Rosie O'Donnell incredibly successful and funny. Like millions around the world, I think she's hilarious. But not everyone agrees. None other than Donald Trump is her hater-in-chief. In fact, he's so irritated by the actress and comedian, he sprays petty insults in her direction whenever he can. Rosie, in turn, gives pretty much as good as she gets, no doubt infuriating the president even more by using his nastiness as material in her one-woman show, Common Knowledge, which she's about to bring to Australia. Rosie O'Donnell, you ready for this jelly?
Here we go.
You nervous?
No, should I be? Hit me with your best shot.
How is life in exile, you troublemaker?
Well, it's been pretty brilliant, I have to say. I'm very happy here. The distance has given me tremendous grace. The people here have been so welcoming.
When you think about it, it's a pretty extraordinary situation. A comedian, of all people, has become America's most famous political exile. But there's nothing funny about what Donald Trump thinks of Rosie O'Donnell.
Probably I'll sue her. I'd like to take some money out of her fat ass pockets.
Or what she thinks of him.
He is a cruel, criminal, mentally unstable man.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs.
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
If you're 55 and you grew up on Long Island, you know that he's a fake, a phony, and a fraud.
Rosie's a failure. She's always been a failure.
I think he's the worst thing that ever happened to the United States.
The bizarre tit-for-tat slanging has been going on for 20 years, after she first called the Donald out in 2006.
Left the first wife, had an affair. Left the second wife, had an affair. Had kids both times, but he's the moral compass for 20-year-olds in America.
But since he's returned to the Oval Office, their feud has been much worse.
Rosie's a mess. She left our country, which is a good thing, not a bad thing.
Thankfully for Rosie, Ireland and the Irish have saved her.
Went to the doctor, getting my first checkup with the GP. Questions: do you smoke? No. Do you drink? Yes. How often do you drink? Please check one box. The first box said 1 to 15 drinks per week. I said to her, what would you say if I told you I had 15 drinks per week? She goes, I'd say move on to the next question. I was like, are you kidding? In LA, they'd be sending you to rehab. But here, everyone's like, would you like a pint, love? Welcome to Ireland. Would you like a pint? I'm like, I certainly would.
Relatively safe from the president's wrath, you can see Rosie's eyes are smiling. She feels at home here, welcomed into a big family.
Will they ever do, you think, like game shows?
She actually grew up on New York's Long Island, but Rosie's Irish heritage has always been a vital part of her life. It was also one of the reasons she turned to comedy, although sadness played a role too. When Rosie was just 10, her mother died. How does someone get funny out of tragedy?
Well, most comedians I know have had some real big trauma in their childhood. And in our family, traditional Irish kind of stereotype, but true, emotions weren't allowed to be discussed unless they were cloaked in comedy. So when my aunt was, putting out the plates and the dishes for dinner, she said an extra one just by habit. And if you could make a joke about that, you could be able to address the topic. But if not, it was just sadness and silence. So I learned to put comedy in, to lighten the moment.
How did you do that?
Well, like I would say, are we leaving a seat for someone? Have we turned Jewish? Isn't that what you do on one of the Jewish holidays? You leave a chair and a plate and I don't know. I would do whatever I could, right? Because I couldn't bring myself to say that. She was gone. She was dead. And also, I had made up a fantasy that she had been kidnapped. And I thought, maybe she ran away. So I created this sort of fantasy that she was going to come back. And whenever I did anything like played on a sports team in school, I would look in the audience and see if she was there trying to watch, Yeah, it was sad. It was tragic.
That's so sad.
I know, it really is.
From heartbreak to healing.
We can't say Nazis. We can't say Nazi.
As a teenager, Rosie began a career in stand-up.
We don't want to offend anyone. We don't want to offend any Nazis.
She was dogged, and so success came quickly.
What's the matter, kid? You too big to finish your own games now?
The comedy clubs of New York gave way to film sets in Los Angeles, where she starred in movies like A League of Their Own and Sleepless in Seattle.
Sleepless in Seattle?
That's what she called him on the show because he can't sleep.
And she was so good at the chat, she even had her own top-rating daytime television show.
Hi, everybody. I just want to say dreams come true on the Rosie O'Donnell show with my boyfriend, Tom Cruise.
You do stand-up at 16. There's a big difference between being funny around the family table and getting up in front of people and doing some gags. What was inside you that made you want to do that?
Well, I never really wanted to be a stand-up comic. I wanted to be on Broadway. I wanted to be a backup singer for Bette Midler. Now, the fact that I couldn't really sing very well or dance didn't really stop me because I had a lot of enthusiasm.
Can you do some Bette Midler right now for me?
I shall never forget it, my boyfriend Ernie said to me, Soph. I said, Ernie, he said, Soph, you're very flat, and you've got no, I said, Ernie, flip me over, so I remembered and would copy everything about her. In fact, in the movie Sleepless in Seattle, I am actually doing Bette Midler. You'll see how I walk. It's the Bette Midler walk. I said to her all the time, I should send you a check, because I was just looking at this character and thinking, how would Bette do it? Because Bette Midler and Barbra Streisand were the two stars in my universe, and Julie Andrews, to tell you the truth. The three of them I just admired and loved so much, and it's very, very strange that I've come to befriend all three of them.
You start mixing with these circles, it's unbelievable. But before that, I want you to take this the right way, but you're not the stereotypical Hollywood star.
I wasn't a typical person you'd see, even on TV, but I didn't let it stop me, because I had this certainty of knowing that I would do this. How
do you know that? Where does that come from? Where does the fight come from inside of you, Rosie O'Donnell?
I don't really know, but it's always been there. I had a certainty and what my friends would call a knowing. She's like, oh my God, she's doing her knowing bullshit. I was like, okay. I sort of saw my life, like what they call now manifesting, but we didn't call it that then. I just saw my life like it was a movie, and I thought, well, I'm going to be friends with Bette Midler and Barbra Streisand.
Look what a fan sent me. Barbra Streisand, right there.
Life was good, but something was missing. Rosie needed to be a mum. And like much of what happened before in her life, motherhood came with a punchline. How did you know that you were going to adopt children?
Well, I had one teacher who was really, really very loving to me, and she sort of took me under her wing, and she got pregnant when I was in 8th grade, and then I was staying at her house to watch the house while she was in labor for the first few hours, and I saw that, and I went, there's no way in God's green earth I'm doing that. It looked so horrible, and it wasn't even in the 9th inning. It was like the first 3 innings, and she was in such pain. I thought, I have to find a way to avoid it. I started looking in the encyclopedia, because there was no Google. How do you adopt a child in America? Because it was too scary for me. It was too scary.
Oh,
so I do a joke in my act that, I adopted 5 children, but I had the epidural anyway.
Not surprisingly, Rosie's 5 children are being raised the traditional Irish way. It's loving, supportive, and full of lessons about caring for the less fortunate.
My mom taught me that you had to help others. She was active in politics. Discussions at our table were often a political origin. And all that sort of went away when she died, But I kind of took that mantle of you have to help people and use your voice for good and stand up to injustice.
It's that sense of social justice that over the years has landed Rosie in hot water.
I see him for who he is, a criminal con man, sexual abusing liar.
And is partly responsible for her political exile in Ireland.
I am giving serious consideration to taking away her citizenship.
Coming up, how this master of stand-up
Taking bribes, blackmailing people.
learned to stand up to Donald Trump.
There's no way you can look at the facts about this man and believe in him still.
You ready? Go!
Being an enemy of Donald Trump doesn't make Rosie O'Donnell Robinson Crusoe. She has plenty of company, but it's still unnerving to be hated by the most powerful and vitriolic man on the planet. Words have power.
Rosie is a loser.
A loser, yes. A threat to humanity.
Disgusting. I mean, both inside and out.
These are all some of his best quotes.
Fat, ugly face of hers.
Fat always comes first with him.
She's a slob.
Okay, Jabba the Hutt, Donald Trump, whatever. Go ahead, keep going. Is that the last one? I expected more from you. What about a threat to humanity?
O'Donnell and Trump have now been at each other for 20 years, and there's absolutely no hint of rapprochement anytime soon.
Trump has always hated the fact that I see him for who he is, a criminal con man, sexual abusing liar.
It's not the chubbiness. Rosie is a very unattractive person.
But being exiled in Ireland isn't all that bad.
The people here have been so welcoming. My child is very, very thrilled to be here and loves the agency she has to go walk to the green and visit her friends or go get an ice cream with her buddy. And in America, that wasn't happening. You know, my 12-year-old child with autism was not going somewhere alone with a friend in New York City. You can know that for sure. I was there all the time. And, you know, and in fact, the lollipop lady here told me that I was the only woman who walked her 6th class kid into school every day and waited at the door. She's like, do you ever think she's embarrassed of you? Let her walk with her friends. I go, well, in New York, we don't do that. You're not in New York now, are you, Rosie O'Donnell? You're in Dublin, Ireland, and I haven't lost a kid yet. I was like, okay, I'm in.
So people know you there, but it's kind of nice knowing. How did she recognize you?
It's a non-celebrity culture.
Yeah.
So people are not obsessed with celebrities. If they see you, they go, hey, or they'll say, welcome. Nobody says, can I have a picture? Can I have an autograph? They literally want to welcome you. And, you know, when I first got there to the school, the woman who was amazing, this lollipop lady, let the kid in and then would watch. And finally, after a few weeks, she said, Clay's mom. What's your name? I said, Rosie. She said, Rosie's surname. I said, O'Donnell. She said, oh, like the famous actress. And I said, I am the famous actress. And she said, no, you're not. I know Rosie O'Donnell anywhere with her long, flowing, raven hair. You're not Rosie O'Donnell. I'm like, no, really, I am. All right, Rosie O'Donnell, if that's how you want to play it. It wasn't until I did the Late Late Show that she actually believed me that I was Rosie O'Donnell.
While Rosie agrees laughter is a great medicine, and she knows many people find her tussles with Trump absurdly amusing, she doesn't want people to forget there's also a serious side to the feud.
For me, fighting and arguing is not the way I want to live or entertain. It's not the way I want to make money. It's you know, even though I, when pushed, will go there, I don't like to go there. And I'm trying in my old age to keep it all calm and to be around as long as I can.
Are you sure about that?
I think so. Did it ring untrue to you?
Well, I do think you make headlines a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yes. Well, when it comes to democracy dying in America, I'm not silent. And when it comes to the president right now and what his actions are and who he is innately, I am not quiet.
For Rosie, the current state of division in the USA is of deep concern. But no matter where she is in the world, she says she'll always be grateful America enabled a poor kid with a tough upbringing to live a dream. You still love your country.
If I didn't love my country, I wouldn't speak out to try to protect it.
Do you feel in a way that he's winning by you leaving the country?
Well, I know that my personal mental health comes first. And when he was in the last time, I was not doing well. And I have a child that is special needs and that needs me to be fully cognizant, happy, not depressed, and not overwhelmed. So I didn't have a choice. I was not one of those celebrities who said, if he gets in, I'm leaving, and then didn't leave. I never said I was going to leave because I never imagined having to. I knew I could not take being in America, watching him ruin everything that we had worked so hard for as a nation to get freedom for everyone, and to get something close to equality, although we never really made it there, for women, for minorities, for black and brown people. We haven't done it. And the promise of America is great, and I live the American dream, and I believe in my country, and I want the best for it, and what's happening now is terrifying as democracy dies, and we all watch.
He's going to revoke your citizenship, I read the other day.
That's what he said, but that's against the Constitution as of now. But as we know, he has pawns in the Supreme Court, and you never know what he'd be able to do, right? So I have not been back since arriving here in January. I would like to go back and see my older children and do all of those things when it's safe. And we have people there in the United States who are advising me on what would be right and healthy and what would be safe for myself and my family. And I'm going to listen to those experts. His mom got pissed? Him and his mom got drunk.
Yeah. It's quite a scary proposition, but for Rosie, there's no backing down. And on the bright side, the meaner Trump is, the more material she has for her one-woman show, Common Knowledge, which she's bringing to Australia next month. Do you think that you're helping people at the moment?
I think I'm helping people maybe see the truth in a way that they haven't been able to.
The point is, Rosie O'Donnell ain't going quietly.
That's the truth, you know. I have a loud mouth. I was raised in New York. The people I've always looked up to in my life, you know, Martin Luther King, Gloria Steinem. People use their voices, even at maybe their own detriment, but they did it for the greater good. And not that I equate myself with those people in any way, but I do feel a responsibility to stand up for injustice wherever you see it.
I don't care what anyone says about you, Rosie O'Donnell. You are not a boring woman.
Thank you so much. That has been my biggest hope of life, that nobody will say, God, she was dull. You know, I want to be vivacious, like a firework, and then let everybody go, ooh, ah,
Donald, sit and spin, my friend. I don't enjoy him. No.
Hello, I'm Tara Brown. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. And don't miss out on our extra minute segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes on 9now.com.au and the 9Now app.